Hello everyone, this is RadTechShoe and I have some more Battleborn open beta gameplay for you, and in this video we're going to be focusing on Miko. I'm going to be going over the lore and backstory concerning Miko, as well as some battle tips and strategies you can use in versus mode to play with Miko, to use Miko to the best of its abilities. So let's get right into the lore of Miko, shall we? Now, the first thing is that Miko's origin. He actually comes from what is known as a planet-sized fungal organism. So pretty much a planet that's like almost like a giant living, breathing plant itself. And that planet is called Mycolopria. And Miko is one of the buds that sprouted from that organism. And it took on a human form so as to better relate and communicate with other people and species around the world, around the universe and the galaxy. And these qualities that Miko possesses are very well. He kind of possesses a hive mentality. Miko does not refer to himself or herself because Miko's a plant, so therefore, in my opinion, plants are pretty much agender. They don't have a sex. They're not male or female. They're just, they have none. But for all intents and purposes, I'm going to be referring to Miko just plainly as a he, just to keep things simple. If Miko is a she or is agender, I apologize, but I can't find any information that, that confirms it one way or another, so I apologize about that. But Miko, he acts and thinks in a hive mentality. Instead of referring to himself as an I, he refers as a we. Like, we must endure. We are stronger. We have now, we need to be successful. Miko does not refer to himself in the first person way at all. He refers to himself as we, as a group hive mentality, primarily because he did spring from a planet that was pretty much one big giant, fungal organism. So Miko is definitely communicating, for the sake of the hive and for the better of the hive. He's pretty much he's just a separate but still connected extension of the entire planet-sized fungal organism, Mycolopria. Now, thanks to Miko's hive mentality, it enables Miko to think not only for himself. Miko does not believe in, looking after just himself. He's not in it to save his own skin or anything like that. He was recently asked in one of his lore storylines, he was asked, why does he heal others and continue to heal and fight and care for others when the collapse and the fall of the universe into darkness and despair seems inevitable? Why does he continue to do what he does? And Miko just seems to feel like there is, it's something worth fighting for, that there's so much wonder left in the universe, and there are things that have yet to be seen, and that is worth fighting for. So Miko is not fighting just for his own survival. He's fighting for the survival of the universe. He fights for everyone and everything in this universe that is known. He fights for what is known and for the unknown that has yet to be discovered. So Miko is really selfless, and it perfectly suits his playstyle. And one more thing I'd like to talk about his lore is Miko's weapons, actually. The kunai that Miko throws, the supposed origin of those is actually not something that you would expect, but they're actually considered extensions of him. He grows these petals from his own body just to hurl them at his opponents, and how he acquired this ability is rather unique. It is believed that it was not a natural ability from Miko himself, but it was a learned adaptation, a forced adaptation, after he had a violent encounter with Diande of the Generate faction, who one of her abilities is throwing blades himself. So supposedly Miko learned to grow kunai and then throw them after having an encounter with Diande, sorry. But anyway, that's supposedly where he got that ability, and that pretty much sums up all of his backstory. There is one more part of his lore that I did not unlock, and that is the requirement for unlocking the last piece of Miko's lore is that I have to play 5 games on the same team as Kelvin. But for those of you who aren't aware, Kelvin is one of the rarest characters I've ever seen in this game. I've only ever fought on the same team as him once, and I've only fought against him, I think, once, maybe twice. So he's one of the very, very rare characters that you just don't see much of in this game. So unfortunately, I did not unlock 100% of Miko's lore. I unlocked 4 out of 5. But for the most part, that's all there is really to him. Other than that one last part that's locked, it alludes to the idea that Miko and Kelvin are affiliated with each other, not just because they're in the same faction, but apparently those two have some sort of history together. Maybe a history similar to what Oscar, Mike, and Montana have with one another, how they're good buddies within their own faction and stuff like that. So there's a possibility that Kelvin and Miko also share some sort of a relationship outside of being just members of the same faction. Now, with the lore out of the way, let's get right into the combat tactics and tips and tricks I would recommend in versus mode with Miko. First and foremost, Miko is a healer. Miko is meant to heal and care for his teammates. Just like in his lore, he is considered to be a caring individual that cares more about the group. He's not in it to save himself. He is in it for the sake of all others around him. So Miko is a healer. He does have combat capabilities. His kunai are relatively decent at dealing damage. However, he throws them real slow, and the reload animation where he pulls out 6 more to throw is fairly slow. And that's really that's how he deals damage, is the kunai. His R1 ability, which is throwing spores, which have the ability to cast slow on the opponent and slow their movement down, is fairly good, but it does not do much damage itself, and the slow does not last long enough. The status effect of inflicting slow does not last long enough, in my opinion. However, when Miko gets to level 4, he can upgrade that ability so that when the spore he throws with R1, if that direct impacts an enemy, instead of slowing them, it will stun them for a couple seconds. That can be the crucial amount of time you need to either get to safety or to kill an enemy, or to kill that enemy. So when Miko gets to level 4 on his Helix tree, I strongly recommend you use the ability. I believe it's the R2 side when you look at the Helix tree, and you go for the ability to stun opponents. Because if someone's charging you right in their and they're right in your face, just double tap R1 to aim it and then throw it. Stun the enemy, and then decide what you're going to do from there. Either get some distance or finish them off. Miko's other ability, his L1 ability, is good in that he has the ability to heal himself for 5 seconds. He will gain a certain amount of life for 5 seconds, and after that 5 seconds expires, the cooldown begins. However, Miko's, I believe, level 2 Helix tree augmentation, if you choose L2 on that one, not only does Miko heal himself for 5 seconds, he'll heal all nearby allies for 5 seconds. And that's what Miko excels at. Miko is a healer, either healing himself or healing his teammates. He is not fairly exceptional at combat. I mean, he can do okay, but in most one-on-one circumstances, Miko's going to struggle to get kills. So the best opportunity is to either ambush your opponents, like right here, when they're already distracted, and then try and finish them off. But more than likely, as you see right here, you're just going to get a lot of assists. Miko is great at assisting. He's great at keeping your teammates alive much longer than they normally would, and your teammates are probably going to get the kills that they otherwise wouldn't have, and you'll get the assist for it. It is easy to get kills with Miko. Well, not easy, but it is possible to get kills with Miko. But you have to be very lucky with your timing. You have to throw your kunai at the right time, because that's how Miko does the most damage. But like I said, as with his abilities, his abilities are focused on healing, not on combat. He's a medic first, and a fighter second. First and foremost, keep that in mind when you're playing as him. Your number one responsibility with Miko is to heal yourself and keep your teammates alive. Try to stay alive, keep your teammates alive, and then advance forward in the group, but advance in the rear. Fall back and, double check on teammates, run back and forth between groups of teammates, heal them, keep them alive, make it so that they're able to last longer so that they can get kills. That's your number one role as playing with Miko. Now for his final ability, which is Fungus Among Us, which is his triangle ability, when he unlocks it, it throws a little mushroom on the ground, and it heals all nearby allies, including yourself, for a good amount of time. The mushroom cap actually lasts fairly long. However, it has very limited health. Your opponents can take it out in a few hits, and that's it. So Fungus Among Us is actually not as good as I was hoping. I thought it should have like 2 to 3 times as much health as it does, because at this point, it's not that great of an ability. It's good so long as you're not being overrun. But if you throw it directly in the middle of a combat zone between you and your enemies, that thing's going to die in a matter of seconds. So I strongly recommend you avoid doing that. You throw it in the back behind the front lines so that if your teammates need to fall back to get healing, they can. So that's really all there is to play Miko effectively, is to not rush out into combat unless your opponent is inches away from death. Back up, work in a group, stick with your teammates. Don't go solo. Don't go the lone wolf. I'm gonna take on everyone. I'm gonna kick some ass and bring all bring it on everyone. No, your goal is to assist your teammates, because you're going to get the most assists with Miko probably than you ever got. And I think one game I got close to 20 assists with Miko, and I had only like a few kills and a few deaths. Like I said, with Miko, your number one goal is to help your teammates. You heal them. Just by healing them, even if you don't do damage, if you're healing your teammates, you will get an assist for that. So long as they get the kill, mind you. So, bear that in mind. Keep your teammates alive. That is your number one responsibility as Miko. Play in the back of the group, play in the rear, stick around, hide behind the people like Montana or Deonde or Wraith, the people who are leading the charge out front and distracting the opponents. Your job is to circle your teammates, keep them alive, and if there are no teammates that need healing or that aren't in dire need of health, then you can attack. But number one responsibility is to keep your teammates alive, get assists. You're probably going to go negative. Just bear that in mind. Be prepared for that. You're going to go negative with Miko, and it's going to happen. There's no avoiding it. You're not always going to go like 20-2 with Miko. Just learn to accept that and learn to play the supportive role. You are contributing to your team winning. You're just not doing it in a lethal way. You're keeping your teammates alive. That is Miko's number one responsibility. And in the next video, I'll go with a nice little combo. I'll show you guys a combo that you can team up with Miko. Another character that Miko can roll with, and it just is a devastating combo. But that's really all I've got to go over in this gameplay. That's what Miko's lore is and how I feel like he is best used in versus game mode. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what other characters you're interested or hyped up about, and I will see you guys all later in my next video where I show off the good tag team with Miko and I tell you guys who works well with Miko, and I'll see you guys all later in that next video. This is RadTech Shu signing off.